Oops, looks like I forgot my wallet. Happens with you too? But not to worry at all, because now we all know India is moving towards a less cash, trust-based digital economy, and to help us achieve this goal, we have a very important player as Worldline India. And to talk about this, we have this special conversation today with the CEO of Worldline India, Mr. Ramesh Narasimhan. Let's welcome him on this special conversation. Hi, this is Mayuri, and hello, Mr. Narasimhan. Nice speaking to you today.
Thank you, Mayuri.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So, as one of the leading digital payments globally, payment services globally, and apart from that, having users, worldwide, millions of them, how do you see your market in India? What do you see ahead in India?
Okay, so let me answer this question in two parts. One, I'll take you through and rejig our memory as to how we as a society evolved with respect to payments during the pandemic. And second, then I'll talk about the role. Now, if you recall, the pandemic, when everything was shut and we still had to buy and we had to pay, right? So one of the proudest moments was when we were able to deliver these services right through the pandemic and without any interruption. And all the firms in this area did this tremendous service where you could pay sitting at home for any service, anything you bought, whether it be medicines, milk, food, groceries, everything, right? And, we had the first wave, then the second wave, and even after the first wave, I still had to withdraw cash from the ATMs to pay some of these people, especially our, vendors at home. Yeah. But as time progressed, and even before the second wave hit us, I still recall, in Mumbai, we have this person who comes and sells us eggs and bread every day, the Andapav guy, right? And, and he, once, the services were opened up and he was able to come home, and I said, look, I have to pay you. So he said, sir, I will take electronic payment, So by then, UPI was ready. They had various names for it, but we were able to pay for eggs, bread, simplest of the things using digital payments, right? And that's a huge transition for Indian society in general, from a completely cash-based payments to what I call a less cash-based digital payment society. The second incident I remember is, for some strange reason in India, life insurance policies are sold maximum in January, February, March, right. Okay, which is the fourth quarter of the financial year for Indian companies, right? And if you remember, the lockdown started, I think, on 22nd or 23rd of March, yes. 2020. And we're all used to somebody coming to us, either at our office or home, to collect the premium payment check, right? And since you buy your, most of the policies are sold in Jan, Feb, March, the premium renewal is also in Jan, Feb, March, right? Mostly in the month of March. And, after 23rd March, there was nobody to come and collect your check. And so, insurance companies were in very deep trouble because the policies were expiring, right? I mean, if you don't pay. And so one of our customers called us and said, help us. We don't know what to do because we can't send anybody to collect checks. And, we immediately provided what is called as a link pay, by which you send an SMS to the policy holder. He clicks on it, he or she clicks on it, and they make the payment and the policy is renewed. And so that's one use case that I can remember, which happened within just about 2-3 days. I remember this call came to us around 2nd or 3rd of April. So from a very high cash society, we very quickly moved into what I call a less cash digital payments way of living, right? And that's something which the pace of digital payments is really astonishing. And UPI gaining leaps and bounds, where we make all our small payments today through the mobile phone. We don't even need to carry a wallet, right? And almost you can do everything digitally now. Now, having said that, what is our role? I'll come to it. As a company, when we look at our role, what we see ourselves as a one-stop shop with a 360-degree suite of payment solutions that we can offer to our merchants who are our customers. And I'll describe 3 or 4 of those suite of payments. So first is what I call as in-store. where we place POS machines at our merchants, and we work with the banks, right, and we provide to the merchants owned by the banks, and we place either hardware POS machines, or we place QR codes, or we place soft POS machines, soft POS, right, and we do this for all our banks. The second part of it is we do what is called as issuance, which is we do credit card issuance. We also provide ETC, the toll tag, solution to some of our banks, where we do everything at the back end for them, and they issue fast tags, and their customers renew it, and we are able to cross highways. The third part is where I look at our online payments, and we provide next gen payment gateway service to all our customers. We provide subscription payments, and we provide cross-border payments. We provide link pay. So these are the kind of services that we provide to our customers, and to our enterprise customers we also offer a payment orchestration platform. Right? These are some of the things we do. And finally, when you have a customer or a merchant who needs both in-store and online, we are able to provide a consolidated view to our merchants, and that's what I call as omni-channel view. Right? We're able to provide a solution that caters to both in-store payments using POS machines as well as online, and we do this as well for our customers. So our journey has been fantastic, being able to offer a 360-degree payment solution suite for our customers.
So I would say the journey is also powered in a way through the COVID, and it was a big transition. Were you really ready for that kind of a transition?
We never prepared for something like that, Mayuri. No one ever tested their business continuity plans the way the COVID incident happened. But thanks to our people who pulled together everything, we were able to provide non-stop continuous service during the COVID pandemic. Right? It was the ultimate test, and I can tell you, it was a test under real life circumstances. It was not a mock drill. And frankly, none of our companies had envisaged something like this, that in Bombay there'd come a time when local trains and everything would shut down, right? Or across the country, everything shut down. Across the world, everything shut down. Nobody ever tested for a scenario like that, but we were lucky that, and I would say luck comes from the efforts of our people, that we were able to provide continued services right during the lockdown, so that you and I could, in our personal lives, pay for things which we bought, right? So absolutely. I mean, it was a great test of everything that we had done from a technology, people and process perspective, and it worked. And even now, a significant chunk of people across Indian industry still work from home, right? So it's a great debate now whether you should come back to work or work from home. But yes, everything works. So.
I like meeting you in person like this and doing this interview in person.
Same here. I love coming back to the office after, almost 2 years sitting at home. You're desperate to come back to the office. So.
Absolutely. So Worldline is basically playing a very important role in powering the dream of India when it comes to less cash, a trust-based economy. So what I would say is also that there is a lot of thrust on the trust-based economy. How does Worldline take care of the trust that the customers want to put in you?
So the trust that you're talking about is essentially based on the complete technology and process that we use to establish this, right? Now, what happens is when you are in a store and you're swiping your card on a hardware POS terminal, you're present there. The merchant can check your antecedents, can ask you for identity. They may not choose to, but your card will have your signature at the back and some of those things by which, and then there is the OTP that comes and you have to put it into the POS machine and make it work. It becomes a little more tricky when you're doing it online, right? When nobody knows who's using, whether you are using your card or somebody else is using. So the entire trust that is established in the process is a combination of technology as well as process. And if you ask me, one of the things that we do very well in India, and it's essentially spearheaded by regulators, is the entire concept of an OTP, right? The two-factor authentication really makes it far more safer for us to do in India. Apart from that, obviously in any payment method, whether it's cash or whether it's digital, there are some basic things that you take care of. You never divulge the OTP, you never give your numbers away, you never pass on information, sensitive information, and there's a continued education around this. That's a key part of building this trust in these systems, right? So every month your bank will send you one detailed email saying don't share your information, don't click on mails you don't know. A lot of education is done on a daily basis, but the way the systems have evolved in India with a two-factor authentication, and it doesn't exist outside India, because you and I have traveled outside India, and we know that you just get the card number and CVV and you're done with in overseas. But in India you have a two-factor authentication, and now there's two-factor authentication at every stage. Absolutely. Right? When you provide an OTP, when you log into your bank account, when you do, everything is governed. The trust is built by all the players, including you and me as participants in the payment ecosystem, by taking the necessary precautions, as well as systemically you build with technology and process. And that's how it becomes a much safer and a more convenient way. Frankly, Mayuri, today you can walk out of your home and do whatever shopping you need without a wallet. Just with your phone, with UPI, with your card, you can transact any amount and any transaction. Really, and it's very simple. At the same time, as I said, the trust is enabled in many ways by the entire ecosystem, not just the users, but the technology providers like us, the banks, the regulator. Everybody gets together and builds that trust systemically into this entire process across the ecosystem.
Yes. So would you also like to give us a glimpse of the customers that you are looking at, the solutions and the services which you have mentioned, but if you can just briefly tell us about the whole system.
Yeah, sure. So we've been in the Indian market for more than 20 years. And have built a leadership position over this long period of time, working with, I would reckon, I would put them in multiple buckets. So on the in-store side, we have banks, primarily banks, public sector and private sector, and NBFCs as our customers. We recently signed up with Bajaj Finance, and we provide the entire services to them, what I call as transaction facilitation services, right, to these private sector and public sector banks from an acquiring perspective. And we also provide them with QR codes and soft POS and other solutions. We also, from an issuance perspective, we do credit card issuance and electronic toll tax. We issue that for many of our banks, right? And from an online business perspective, our customers essentially are large e-commerce merchants, insurance companies, utility utility companies, educational institutions, a wide variety of merchants across large enterprise as well as SMBs. Okay. We have on the online side almost 7 lakh merchants, more than 7 lakh merchants, right? And we provide services to them. Overall, as Worldline India combined, we provide more than payment services to more than 1.5 million points across the country and across the length and breadth of the country. We are present everywhere, and that really gives us our heritage from over 20 years in the business.
No wonder, Mr. Narasimhan, you all have posted a very good result in the last month when it comes to last quarter especially. So the second quarter has shown extremely good performance, and even the merchant services have shown a very strong performance. Now, looking at this, what excites you more in the Indian fintech market overall? Sure.
And I'll just comment on the global results because we don't announce results in India separately. Right. Globally, last quarter we grew 12.6% year on year, which is an absolutely extremely good growth. And the what I would call as the synergy benefits of the Ingenico acquisition are now coming to bear for us across the world. And thirdly, since then we've completed many more acquisitions in the European market, and Worldline as a company is very active in M&A. We've also completed the divestiture of our hardware business, which will get completed in the second half of the year. And so a lot of action at a global level, right, and very satisfying results. and obviously we have done a little bit from India as well to the contribution of the global Worldline results. The second part of the question, when I look at what do I see the role of fintechs in India, I look at essentially three parts, Mayuri. First is the demand side. The demand side really in India is enormous. It's created by many things coming together. For example, this whole UPI thing has taken off on the back of what is called as JAN, which is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile. Jan Dhan being your no frills accounts, Aadhaar leveraging, and then mobile phone essentially able to do the transaction. So, and coupled with that, you have an economy that's growing probably fastest in the world.
Yes.
You have a population which is significantly more than 75% is less than 45 years of age, and who have a tendency to adopt new technologies. So on the demand side, I don't see a problem at all. I mean, we have a huge appetite for growth in the area of fintechs and anything going digital, because it's not just payments, everything else is going digital, right? Whether it be lending, now you have terms like insurtech, wealth tech, so many other tech-based developments that are happening. Now, this is one aspect, right? On the supply side, what do we have? So, again, I'll come back to what the fintechs are able to provide solutions, and I'll talk a couple of our own solutions, which are, what I would call the need of the hour. If you remember last year in October, there was a guideline by which all our subscription payments came to a halt.
Yes.
Yeah. So we built a subscription payment solution for our customers, right? And if you take the demographics, which I just mentioned before, today you can pay your insurance policy in many installments. It doesn't have to be one-time premium you have to pay. You can pay it in 3 installments, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 12 installments. How do you enable this? Because the population that we have, young population, wants to deal with some of these expenses in that manner. They don't want to pay one time. They want to pay in installments, right? So we've designed a special subscription payment solution for our customers, for our merchants, essentially insurance merchants, and deployed. And it works very well in this context. So it's all about, you look at the pain points of friction in the system now, and then see if you can build a solution. And there's a ready market for it in our country. I can tell you that much. The second one that we looked at, Mayuri, is a cross-border solution, right? Thanks to now the internet and thanks to e-commerce, the physical borders are no longer a limitation. You can buy from any site anywhere and buy and pay for it, and it gets delivered. So how do you enable cross-border payments, right? How do you settle these? So we have a solution because of Worldline's presence in over 50 countries and being able to conduct transactions in 170 countries across the world. With one single integration, right, you can conduct payment transactions anywhere in the world, right, in the local currency of your choice. So otherwise what happens is if you want to go to 3 different countries, you'd have to go and sign agreements in 3 different countries, do a KYC, sign up with payment service providers. With this solution, just with one country, one single integration, one agreement, you can sign up for being able to provide local payment solutions. For example, if somebody wants to sell their service in India, let's say a music streaming service, in our solution you can pay by UPI, you can pay by cards, right? You can pay through net banking. So many options available, right? Which otherwise gets limited to only international credit cards or international debit cards, which is not available to the whole population, right? But if you take UPI, probably a few hundreds of millions of people today are using UPI. So the actual streaming service may not be very expensive. It may just cost 50 rupees, but you can pay in your local UPI. Using UPI, you can make the payment without having the need for an international credit card or something like that, right? So that's another area that we think fintechs have evolved to present solutions in some of these areas, right? Another area that I'm very fond of talking about is our development of the soft POS solution, right? Now, if you take a hardware POS, there's a cost to it. It's a capital expense item. It has to be shipped out to merchants in remote corners of the country. It has to be maintained. You have to, there's a paper roll, you have to do all this. What the soft POS does is, you download the entire software. It comes onto the phone, Android phone of the merchant. Right. And you can start using it as a POS immediately, because you have the tap on phone facility, and as allowed by the RBI, you can conduct transactions. And most transactions are below that 5,000 rupee limit in any case, for most of us, right? So it works as a software POS, and it can be downloaded on the merchant's cell phone, an Android cell phone. So that's another area that we believe a solution like this is very, very, makes a lot of sense for a country like India, where, to service a POS machine in some small street in some corner of the country is not easy. But a soft POS is something that works, is viable, and initially there is no cost of capex. The merchant's own phone can be used as a as the base machine for the point of sale terminal. So this is one that I see. And from a technology perspective, things like video KYC, which even the government, the RBI are making it simpler and more technology enabled, right, using Aadhaar or whatever. All these things have really contributed towards making the services of fintechs more accessible, right, and easily accessible to a larger part of the population. And that's one of the things that we really need to. There's a long way to go. Though the Jan Dhan scheme has opened bank accounts for a lot of Indians who never had access to banking. But I believe that fintechs and can take this to many more people in the country and bring them as part of the formal financial system, which will ensure in the development and progress of the country at large. Absolutely. Right? So these are all things that I believe will help immensely and really improve the productivity. And frankly, if you ask me at the end of the day, carrying cash is painful, it's expensive because the note gets, after some time it has to be replaced. It's much cheaper to do this and much more effective to do this, across the country. So along with the fact that smartphones are now probably going to cross, 1 billion smartphones in India, and the fact that UPI is now available even on feature phones. You don't need a smartphone to do a UPI transaction any longer. So all these things are contributing to what I would call the demand, the supply side of the equation, and both on the demand side as well. Yes. So it's something that I see a huge potential growth for fintechs across the entire spectrum. I mean, as I said, it's not just payments, it's wealth tech, it's insure tech, it's so many other things have come in technology. I mean, the nomenclature is changing, but there's potential, enormous potential for growth for so many of these platforms.
I remember there was a day when I had forgotten my wallet and I had to walk for a few kilometers because I could not ask for money from someone. And I think days have changed, and thanks to the whole ecosystem which has built in this whole progress in the fintech and the digital economy. So thanks to you also for making all of these things available. When we talk of Worldline and the progress that you all have seen over the last about 20 years that you've seen, the journey has only been upwards. A few years from now, where do you see yourself, Worldline?
Absolutely. As one of the leaders, as I said, providing 360-degree payment solutions to our merchants. And I think the key thing in this whole thing, Mayuri, is we're not only growing, but we're also growing profitably. That's very important in a nascent industry, right? And our ability to invest and offer new solutions comes from the fact that we are profitable and we're able to reinvest it back in the business. And that's something that we will continue to do. And we are committed to this market for the long term. We've been here for more than 20 years. We are a serious and a systemic player in India in the financial services, in the payment side of the financial services, and we'll continue to stay and we'll continue to grow, and we'll continue to offer new and unique innovative technologies like soft POS and others to the Indian market and Indian merchants at large.
There are lots of your programs with the government as well. Would you like to talk about that as a customer, the government?
Sure, Mayuri, and this is where I see tremendous progress made by the government, especially when it comes to what I call G2C, government to citizen initiatives, where the government is really supporting digitization in a big way, and and collection of digital payments, and eliminating or reducing the amount of cash that is through the system. And we just deployed two examples that I will mention here. We just provided POS terminals to the Jammu and Kashmir Police and Madhya Pradesh Police, right, where traffic offenders can pay their fines using their cards right there, right, on the spot. You pay the fine and you move on, right? Now we are all used to paying cash as fines, but this is another example from a G2C perspective where you are able to pay fines, right? And we've enabled these terminals and it's being used. Now the second one is the Municipal Corporation, right? We have Panvel Municipal Corporation, where we have provided a value-added solution on our Android POS machines. And what you can do is you can pay all your taxes by swiping your card, right? It's something where if you go to the municipal office and you can actually swipe and pay, whether it's property tax, whether it's any other tax that you need to pay, water, all those things can be paid for just by swiping your card on whether credit card or debit card on the POS machines. So what I see as a solution, combination of both the Android POS machines that we have launched a couple of months ago in the Indian market, is it allows you to provide more software-based solutions, just like your phone, right? You have multiple apps for various needs that you have. Could be a bank app, could be an insurance app, could be your e-commerce app, shopping app, and so many things. So here's one app which can be put on as a value-added service on an Android POS machine, by which the government is now able to offer services, and collect money digitally, yes, right? This is an area which you will see more and more, digitization, because the government is absolutely clear that it wants to move towards digital payments. Today, even temples, you can do everything digitally. You really don't have to put money in the hundi, right? The government is saying pay digitally, which makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. And you'll see more and more applications on our Android POS machines as well as our soft POS machines in this regard in the near future.
This is really something which will help the governments as well as the customers, the consumers, the citizens, and obviously the entire fintech market. So we look forward to your progress, and also wish you all the best, and look forward to meeting you like this again and again over your progress and over what all you do in terms of services ahead. Thank you so much for talking to us, Mr. Ramesh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.